Happy Monday, everyone. This is Devin Murray with AttractMoreFamilies.com, helping private and parochial schools grow their enrollment and become the marketers that they've always wanted to be. It is Monday, so it's another one of my master classes, and I've actually been getting a lot of questions on Yelp lately and getting Yelp reviews that stick. So I thought today I would go ahead and take a little bit of time and talk to you all about how to get Yelp reviews that stick. And I've got 6 secrets that I'll kind of reveal to you that one or two of them you can probably pick out today and start using to help get reviews that stick. And you can actually use these on any of the platforms or any place at all, really, to get reviews, to be honest. First, I want you to know that yes, you actually can use Yelp successfully. You can overcome bad reviews and get legitimate reviews to show, but you have to do it the right way. Yelp especially has a lot of filter going on, so if you do even one thing wrong, if you're 1 or 2% off, those good reviews will not stick. So you just need to kind of make sure that you're doing it right. But first, let's step back for a second and let's look at why it's even important. And really, this comes down to how parents find you has changed. Really, in the last decade, and honestly in the last 5 years, it has really changed. There's been a sea state change of how parents are searching for private parochial schools for you. All right, first off, the phone book is dead. Let's just face it, people don't use the phone book anymore. It's really what I'd call the fastest recycled paper in the world. There's actually a lot of municipalities now that don't even allow the phone book to be published and delivered unless you request it, because all that it was doing is going straight to the landfills. So they've said just don't publish it anymore. So the phone book is dead. People are now looking at over 10 information sources before they'll make a decision to buy. Even a couple years ago, it was 3 or 4. Now it's up to 10 different sources. So what this means for you is that they are not just looking at your website, they're going out to all of the review sites and to other sites to get information. So you need to make sure that you are there and that you are showing up good in those other sites. 79% of consumers trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. So, almost 80%. So we're back to that 80-20%. 80-20 rule again. 79% of customers are trusting the online reviews now. They would rather go and find someone like themselves, a stranger, but who is like them, and they trust their review as much, if not more, than the recommendation from their friend, family, neighbor, pastor, whatever. Right? Whereas 10 years ago, 5 years ago, those referrals and those recommendations, sometimes that's all that it took, was to get a neighbor, a friend, a family member, get your priest or pastor to recommend you. Now that's not the case. Now people would rather go online and see the reviews from people like themselves who have reviewed your school or any other product. And people really do look at those reviews and they look to see who left them. They look at the picture a lot of the times, even subconsciously, and they look at the picture and they go, is that person like me? Are they in their 30s? Does it look like they have kids my age? If so, then they tend to believe that review even more than their neighbor, friends, families. We also found that with looking at 10 different sources of information and being online and being bombarded, attention spans have shortened. Whereas before you could expect people to stay on pages for 20, 30 seconds before bouncing off and actually have some time to read what's on the page, we're down to 5 seconds now. We also find that people just won't look beyond what's right in front of them. They know that they can go back and start a new search versus digging through the search they did for the information. Basically, no one will go to page 2 anymore, and a fair number of them won't even scroll down beyond the top 4 or 5 results that are on the front page, because There's normally about 10 results per page, and the top 4 or 5 show up on one page without scrolling. What this means to you simply is that if you're not showing up at the top of local search results, of any search results, and at the top of Yelp when people look at that, if you're not showing up in the top 1 to 3 slots, you probably don't even exist in the eyes of a lot of your prospective families, and they are simply passing you by because they don't know that you're there. They don't know that people have left reviews for you. And because of that, it is really, really important that you get yourself up to the top and do things right and get reviews up there and get ranked well in search. All right, so now let's dig into a little bit of Yelp data, because that's really what this master class is about, is talking about Yelp. 90% of Yelp users say a positive review will affect their decision. So that's why it's really important to have positive reviews there. Even if you don't think it's important, it is important to them. And because it's important to them, you need to make sure that you're getting those reviews. Yelp has over 100 million unique visitors a month. That's a lot of people. 3.3 million people use Yelp every day. I know some people think that Yelp really isn't used that much, that it's just a game and a conspiracy to get money out of you, because I know that they've called probably every one of you at least once a month trying to encourage you to buy advertising on them. But it's not just that. It really is 3.3 million people a day on Yelp. And I'm sure that some of them, a lot of them, are looking for services in your area. There's over 40 million reviews on Yelp. And for each additional star on Yelp leads to around 7.5% increase in revenue for a business. So going from 3 to 4 stars, making that effort to get a couple of better reviews so you can move from 3 to 4 stars can make a huge increase in your bottom line. Let's even say that number's off, that we think it's too high. So if we just look at half, or just about half, so that'd be what, 3.75? Let's call it 4%, just to make the number simple. What if you were to increase your revenue by 4%? What would that do for your school, for what you're able to do, the programs you're able to offer, what you're able to pay your staff, what kind of facilities you can pay for, and uniforms you can have, and books you can have? Just think about how that, just going from 3 to 4 stars. And it's not just about increasing revenue, it's increasing enrollment, or being able to increase the tuition that you are charging and asking people to pay, because you've gone from just 1 star going from 3 to 4. Just imagine what life would be like at your school if you had that. Now do you see maybe why it might possibly be worth putting some effort in to getting a couple of better online reviews? Let's see, 45% of Yelp content is retail and restaurants. Everyone thinks that Yelp is all about just retail stores and restaurants, but really only 45% of them are. That means that 55% of Yelp's content is essentially service businesses and other types of businesses, and that includes you. So do not ever think that Yelp is just about restaurants and stores. It's also about services. It's about schools. It's about attorneys. It's about you. So make sure you are on Yelp. Also, I want everyone to understand that Yelp is the review source for the iPhone and obviously Siri. So if you ask Siri, or if your customers ask Siri to find them private schools near them, it's going to go pull the addresses and the rankings of those schools from Yelp. Or if you type into Apple Maps on your iPhone, your iPad, really even a Mac, it's going to use Siri to find those locations, to find the schools around you, around them, and populate the map with those, which is where people are going to start their research. So if your school is not in Yelp, or not showing up well in Yelp, or has misinformation, a phone number wrong, an address wrong, you could be having some really serious trouble attracting the folks that use iPhones and Siri and Macs, who are, quite frankly, generally some of your better customers. Those generally tend to be more of your ideal clients. Finally, there's what I call the Apple, Facebook, Bing alliance, which is Apple, Facebook, and Microsoft, essentially. They have teamed up, either officially or unofficially, to try and compete with Google. They know that not one of them can do it on their own, but as a team, they're hoping to be able to compete and beat and win against the 90-pound gorilla, which is Google. So they're kind of teaming up, and you'll find that they do a lot of cross-promotion and cross-connections. So again, Apple's pulling stuff from Bing, they're pulling stuff from Facebook. They're trying to work with each other, and Yelp is a part of that alliance. Yelp is really trying to help grow that because they're competing against Google, right? Because it's not just Google Maps anymore. 5 years ago, Google Maps was everything. That's pretty much, I just made sure that my customers, my clients, made sure that they ranked really, really well on Google Maps, which was then, it was Google Places. Before that, it was Google Merchant. Now it's Google Plus. I'm sure tomorrow it's going to be called something new. But 5 years ago, that mattered. Now, Yelp really does matter because there's good reason to believe that in the next couple years, Yelp will replace Maps as the leading review site. There are already some portions of the country that I'm seeing it at 50-50. That it's really at that tipping point. Yelp is at that tipping point, especially now that they're a public company, to take over and be a bigger review site than Google Maps is. Because of this, longevity and prior success will really help. I had lots of clients who I got up to rank really well in Google Maps years and years ago. Even without doing any more work, once we got them up to the top and got them stabilized there, now we don't even need to do any work and no one can beat us because we have longevity. One of the criteria that Google uses and Yelp also uses is when people click over from your local listing to your website or to your page, your Google Places page, your Yelp page. Well, if you're number one, more people are going to click over to you, just by nature. So what we find is that people keep clicking over, and the more that you click over, the more that you're likely to stay in that number one position. The more that you're in the number one position, the more likely it is that someone's going to click over to you. So it's really important that right now, when it's still young and you can still win and beat people, you need to make sure that you get up to that top, have some successes, and have that longevity of having been there. So it's really important that you get up there now. You also need to rank well in Yelp and have good reviews. Obviously, Yelp is a very powerful source of leads and prospects. And if you have good reviews and show up well in Yelp, it's going to help you in the long term and in the short term also. All right, so what all do we need to do to become really good in Yelp? The first thing is you need to become a Yelper. That's what they're actually called. That's what they call people who have actually joined. So you do need to actually go join Yelp, not just be looking at it from a non-signed-in person's, a non-Yelper's point of view. What you will see is when you become a Yelper, you can see your school and your competitors as a user would see them, not just as an administrator. It actually gives you some options and tools that would not otherwise be available, gives you some other abilities, and you really want to be able to see those so that you can tell how your school is doing and also how your competitor is doing. And it's free to join, so again, really there's no reason at all to not join. They've really made it very simple.com, or very simple. You go to yelp.com, right up at the top corner there's a sign in or sign up button, and you can actually sign up with Facebook. Now, I guarantee you, as soon as I publish this video, they will change this page. I'm pretty sure that Yelp has spies, and everyone has spies watching me, waiting for me to put out videos showing you where something is so that they can then just completely change it. Just go to Yelp.com. You'll see somewhere on the page, I'm sure, a place to sign up. You can sign up with Facebook, and then you have some access to additional information. You also want to do what is called unlock your Yelp page, which is very important. It's basically claiming your business page. In Yelp term, it's called unlocking. Claiming was the term that we used in Google Places, Google Plus. But you just want to make sure that you have ownership over your Yelp listing. You'll find errors in content that need to be corrected. Regularly, I see phone numbers and addresses tend to be wrong because Yelp has gone out and kind of combed the internet to find your information. They've also allowed users to enter your information. And a lot of them have a wrong address, or they have the direct phone line to a teacher's classroom, or some strange number that you called from once to respond back to a parent, and that's the number that Yelp has. So you really want to make sure that stuff is correct. You'll also find a lot of the times that grades and ages are off or missing. Again, parents, Yelp and parents have entered this information. A lot of them just don't have the right information, regretfully. So a lot of times I'll see that they have errors in your content that once you've unlocked your Yelp page, you can go ahead and correct. Incomplete content is something else we see a lot of, which is, again, grades or ages being wrong, classrooms being wrong, what services you offer a lot of the time are wrong because they're not well spelled out on your website, they're not spelled out to parents, and they only enter the information that they think you do. So by claiming your Yelp page, by unlocking it, you're able to go in and make sure that you have a complete listing of what you do, which will help you rank higher when someone's searching for what you do. Finally, when you join, you unlock extra features and options. There's options to see some more demographic and analytical data as to who's coming to your Yelp page, where they're coming from. You're able to respond to reviews. You're able to dispute reviews if you want to, which you really don't ever want to. I'll talk about that later on in this presentation. So you really just want to make sure that you do unlock it. And again, they make it super simple. Again, I'm sure this page was changed. But go to biz.yelp.com, create an account. If you've watched one of my master classes on claiming a Google Plus page, it's really the same kind of information. They just want a name, an address, your phone numbers, what categories to put you in, and then they want a means to verify that you actually are legitimate owner. One of the other things about unlocking that it provides is Yelp allows users to change your information, hours, prices, phone numbers, those things. If you have unlocked and have your page claimed, they will actually send you an email verifying those changes first. So it's really important for you to know that those changes are being made so that you can provide the right information. So just go ahead and take 15 minutes, claim your page, great something to do at one of your quarterly marketing meetings. All right, so let's talk about the 6 ways to get reviews and to get reviews that stick. Now, these are aimed at Yelp because Yelp has a very special filter, which I'll talk about in little pieces here. But it's really important that you get reviews and do it the right way, because if you don't do it the right way, they're not going to stick. All right, so the first way you want to do it is you want to segment your requests. Right? You want to only ask people who are already on Yelp for reviews. One of the filtering criteria that Yelp uses is they want people that are actively leaving reviews. So they will regularly filter the first couple of reviews that someone gives. If someone has never given a Yelp review before and they give you a review on Yelp, the odds of that review showing up are slim. Sometimes it'll happen, but generally it won't. So there's no sense in really asking people who are not already doing reviews on Yelp to give you a Yelp review, because all you're going to do is take away a review that you could have asked for someone to do on Google instead. Look at people's email addresses is a great way to figure out who's on Yelp. Again, we're talking about that Apple, Facebook, Bing alliance. So if someone has an Apple email address, or a Bing, which is Hotmail, or a Yahoo email address, there's a good chance that they're a Yelper. So send those requests to those people. People that have Google or AOL are probably Google Plus people, Google Maps people. So why not send them a review or testimony request to go to Google Plus and leave a review there? Just real simple. That way you're not wasting reviews that you're getting that'll never show up. Because the point is not just to get the review, it's to get the review that shows up. All right, another way to do that is Yelp only events. These, you can promote a special event only on Yelp. So you can go in once you've unlocked your page and you can ask people who attend a special event to review you. And most likely will be on Yelp because they came from Yelp, the special events. And these can be really simple. Sometimes you can be a special event, a special speaker, showcasing of some special talents that you have. I find that special speakers or special education sessions are great for this. Again, your ideal clients want to know and want the best. So as an example, imagine that you went to a conference and learned during that conference new ways that the child's brain works, an adolescent child's brain works, and how they are going to get upset all the time. We all know that they do this, and I know they keep doing studies as to why adolescents are so out of control and make such poor decisions. That's great information. Bring that information back and maybe do an hour or 90-minute presentation to parents and promote it only on Yelp. The other thing which you can do with this is if you already have a regular event happening, such as that, why not advertise on Yelp a special event, a special pre-event, 1 to 2 hours ahead of time to get those Yelpers to come, and then ask them for reviews because they've more than likely heard about you from Yelp. A third way to get reviews on Yelp is to essentially use their logo everywhere. They encourage that. So make sure it's on your website, on your testimonial page, your testimonial request page, and in emails requesting a review. The Yelp filter, they actually have the ability, and they go back when someone comes and leaves a review. The way the internet works is that you know what page they came from because that information is passed between the internet sites when you change pages. So Yelp knows when someone comes and leaves a review what page they came from. And their filter program actually goes back and looks at the page they came from to see if you have asked them to leave a review on Yelp, because Yelp has said very clearly you are not allowed to ask for a review on Yelp. So if Yelp goes back to the page that you requested someone leave a review for and it says, please leave a review on Yelp for us, or please tell Yelp what you think of us, or anything that they think that looks like that, they will automatically filter that review. And it will not show up on Yelp, which is one of the big reasons why reviews do not show up on Yelp. However, Yelp's logo is there, and Yelp's logo actually has a click-through that actually takes them to the review pages. If that is what drove somebody to the review, Yelp will not put in that filter. This is why it's really important to ask for reviews through the Yelp logo, because it will keep those reviews from being filtered. Really kind of a sneaky way they have that set up. This is probably one of my favorite ways, and this can be used on every type of getting reviews, but it helps really good with Yelp also, is to educate people on how to give good reviews, on what a good review is, too many people just don't know what to say. And because they don't know what to say, they either won't do it or they leave the real simple review of, yep, Ace Academy was great. That's the review they leave because they don't know how to leave more. A part of Yelp's filter is Yelp wants to see significant content. Yelp would love to see 200 words about a program. It's a part of their filter because their theory is if someone either really likes a business or doesn't like a business, they're going to leave more than 2 to 3 sentences, 2 to 3 words. 2 to 3 words says that they didn't really care that much either way, and therefore that gets run through the filter. So you want to educate people on how to give good reviews. One is to give them good sample reviews that stick. Go to Yelp and find reviews on your site or on other people's sites that are really working, and provide that and show them here's what a good review should look like, or here's some sample reviews that you can model. Because most people really do not know where to start or what to say. This isn't what they do all day long. And the human brain's default is always to do nothing. So if you do not provide them with an example, they'll either do nothing and say, oh, yeah, I'll give you a review as soon as I get home. And then they'll never give you the review. Or they're going to give you that quick review because they don't know what to say. So by showing them, by giving them samples of good reviews, they now have a model that they can pick from or almost model themselves. Another really powerful thing to do is to give them pre-written reviews. I actually learned this from a gentleman by the name of James Malinchak, who was on The Secret Millionaire, the show on, I think it was ABC's Secret Millionaire. And to give pre-written reviews. So I find that 3 versions works great, and what you simply do is just send out a letter, an email, a comment or something that says, thank you for your great email, comment, whatever. I know you're very busy, so I took a minute and I wrote what you said into a couple of different testimonial versions. Please feel free to pick or write your own. And you'll find 95% of the time they're just going to circle one of them. Now, is this going to get it on Yelp? Probably not, because you then have to have a way to get it posted onto Yelp. But now you've got a review, and you just ask them to sign it, and now you've got a review from that parent. So if you see someone on Yelp that leaves a great review, or really anytime, go ahead and just write out the review for them. Let them pick 3. I find 3 works really good because it lets them kind of pick and choose, and they don't feel like you're forcing one upon them. And there's generally one that has their style to it. And that just allows you to get reviews that you would not otherwise have. And because you've pre-written it, it models what everyone wants. What the search engines want, what Yelp, what Google Plus wants, and what people just want to see when they get to your website. So really just take the time and do that. Great way to do it. Give people examples of how to do it. You also want to actively engage reviewers. When they leave reviews, engage them. Realize that Yelp classifies itself and is classified as a social media platform. It's designed to have communications back and forth. It's not just supposed to be a one-way street where people leave reviews and never hear from you. They want it to be social. They want you to interact with your customers. But what's important is that you engage with the good reviews almost as much, if not more, than you engage with the negative reviews. Because again, it's a social media platform. And I had one client once who their director would, every time there was a negative review, he would respond to that negative review, but he never responded to the good reviews. And then they were wondering why on earth the negative reviews are staying around. And the reason they were is because he was engaging. He was being social with those. And Yelp said, oh, these must be the ones that they're talking back and forth about. These are the important ones. As soon as we instituted a policy to really leave the negative reviews alone and to really focus on interacting with the positive reviews, all of a sudden those positive reviews started to stick and stay and hold on Yelp, and those negative reviews started to drop down. Really important that you engage with your reviews, but especially engage with the positive reviewers. And really, it can be as simple as saying something like, "Thank you, I'm so glad you are enjoying your time with us. Thank you so much for letting us help your children learn. We've loved having your children in our school for the last year, the last 5 years, whatever." But by engaging back with them, it shows that you're being social, and it's going to help those reviews stick. You will also find that this encourages other people to actually leave reviews, to leave positive reviews, because everyone wants to be recognized. And when people start seeing that you actually recognize those who leave positive reviews, people are inclined to start leaving reviews. When you're ignoring the compliments all the time, people begin to feel that, oh, they don't really care about compliment, why should I provide one to them? And finally, the sixth way to get great reviews is what's known as a Yelp check-in. As I talked about before, the Yelp filters do not allow you to request a review. However, you can request people check in on Yelp on their mobile device. And honestly, Yelp even encourages you to ask people to check in. And what you'll find is, even though you're not allowed to actively request a review, after someone has checked in with Yelp, Yelp sends them a request for a review. And that is considered 100% acceptable. So you want to make sure you want to encourage people to check in with Yelp when they come to your school or your campus. Now, this is not an everyday thing. Do it on special occasions. I have a marketing calendar which I use, which I actually have a holiday. There's a holiday about every day of the week. There's a holiday. Every week has several different week-long holidays. Every month has monthly holidays. And it really is powerful to pick out holidays that match your school's beliefs and philosophies, and why not do something special on those? Some of the more popular and more commonly known holidays are, there's National Reading Month, there's Get Up and Move, which is Exercise Month, but then there's also other fun things, which is National Ice Cream Sandwich Day. This is one that I love to encourage students or schools to work with. Why not on National Ice Cream Sandwich Day, go get a bunch of ice cream sandwiches, and at pickup time, provide ice cream sandwiches to the parents. Encourage them to come in and have an ice cream sandwich and to talk with you. And while you're doing that, ask them for reviews or ask them to check in. Talk to them, socialize with them, because they're going to think it's so much fun and so funny that you're doing this. And that's the kind of stuff that gets spread on social media too, by the way. Talk about fun. Today was Friday. It was National Ice Cream Sandwich Day. So when I showed up to pick up my child from school, they had ice cream sandwiches for us. Here's the picture of us eating them. People just love that's the kind of stuff that goes on social media, and that's the stuff that makes it very easy then to ask someone for a review or a Yelp check-in. Really powerful. This is probably my second favorite way to get reviews, is to have fun. Pick a fun holiday and use that one. Obviously, if you don't know how to find those, I do have all those holiday calendars with me, and just give me a call and we can sit down and talk and see if we can come up with some holidays that'll work for you. All right, there's also tremendous evidence, by the way, with the Yelp filter that if someone checks in, it'll actually unfilter a previously filtered review. The theory here being pretty much that if someone leaves a review and they're not at your location, because everyone's phone is geolocated now, Yelp says that you left the review from 10 miles away because you dropped the child off to school and then went to work and left the review at work. Yelp is not 100% sure that you actually are doing business with that school, with that business. So they filter those because they're just not sure that you're in the same area, and it doesn't make sense to their algorithm. But then when you check in at that school or that location, Yelp now can say, oh yes, they actually are doing business with that school, with that business. So that previous review they left, that actually must have been a truthful review. So let's go ahead and pull that review back up and let's start showing it again. So this is a powerful way, even if you've had parents who have left reviews that get filtered for one reason or another, having them do a check-in at your school can a lot of the times go ahead and unfilter that. All right, so now let's talk about how to overcome a negative review. I always get this question. This is kind of a little bonus section I'm going to throw in there for us today because I get these questions a lot. How do we overcome negative reviews? Because everyone's afraid of, especially on Yelp, getting negative reviews. And it seems like a lot of you would rather get no reviews than risk getting negative reviews. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is to look in the mirror. Make sure that you actually aren't having problems, that there actually isn't something wrong. I hear all the time from people, oh, they left this review for no reason at all. Oh, my teachers are great. But then when we dig in and go back and look and we find out that maybe that teacher does have a little bit of an attitude problem. Maybe that teacher is a little bit burnt out. Maybe our facilities really aren't as well maintained as we thought they were, that we've been kind of glossing over the dirty halls and the need for some paint, or the desks that have been kind of broken for a while. We've been kind of glossing over that because we haven't been paying attention, or it's been that slow creep that because we're there every day, we don't notice the problems. Or we love that teacher so much because they've been with us for 15 years that we forget to look back. So the first thing I always tell everyone is when you see a negative review, really step back and make sure that it isn't something that has happened that is truthful. Just a little statistic here. 79% of all reviews on Yelp are 3-star or above. I know everyone loves to think, and I hear all the time, there's nothing but negative reviews on Yelp. Yelp is nothing but 1-star reviews. All we ever have is 1-star reviews. Really, just about 80% of all reviews are 3 stars or above. So if more than 2 out of 10 of your reviews are negative, there's probably something wrong. And you probably need to fix something. Rather than being worried about getting negative reviews, it might be time to make a correction. Or the flip side is, if you really do have a great school and everything is running well, then I wouldn't worry too much about it. Over 80% of your reviews should be 3-star or above as a minimum. You'll also find that the majority of people who read through reviews do so with their own filter, and they can understand a truthful review versus a fake review. We've done study after study after study has been done, and people can pick out at over 90% fake reviews that are left by the disgruntled parent who was fired because they weren't paying their bill, or the teacher who was fired because they weren't a very good teacher anymore, or they were burnt out, or the student who was asked to leave for disciplinary reasons. People can really pick those out, and they do it at almost a subconscious level. They can't always tell you why they picked the review out, but they can say, hey, that review doesn't make sense to me. I think it's a fake one. And when we look at the errors that people actually put in, because I said about 90% pick up the fake ones, people actually err towards fake reviews. So generally, when we see an error, it's not that someone believed a fake review, it's that they thought that a truthful review was actually fake. So that's one of the other ways that they really kind of filter those through their own eyes. And people are really smart. So again, don't worry too much about those fake reviews when you fire that parent. Don't worry too much about it. So how do we overcome these negative reviews? The first one is engage the negative review. Now, I said you also need to engage the positive reviews, but these are the negative reviews that you actually feel are legitimate, that you can actually do something about. So first, realize it's not personal. It's not about you. They're not attacking you. They're looking for a solution. All right? They want to show you are trying when someone sees the review. Right? That's the other thing people want to see. They just don't want to see that there was a complaint and you did nothing about it. If there was a bad teacher or unkept facilities, a parent who's looking to come to you wants to see that you looked at a problem and solved it. That you actually took action on it and are trying to solve it. Even if you can't always solve every problem. Some people realize that you're not always going to be able to solve every single problem every single time right away. But they want to see that you're trying. People also want a solution. They don't want to see that you just accept problems. They want to see that you're actually going to fix something, because they put themselves in that position. What happens if my child is having trouble with a teacher? What happens if my student gets into that classroom that's maybe not as well maintained as I would like it to be, or as clean as I would like it to be? What's the school going to do about it? Are they going to ignore it, or are they going to fix it and come up with a solution for me? That's what they're looking for. They want to see that solution. So make sure that you are providing people with that solution. Come back and say, yes, thank you so much for pointing out that our facility, that our gymnasium has not been as well maintained as it probably should have been. We've actually instituted a plan where we're going to start doubling the amount of time our maintenance people have each week to fix all the equipment at the gym. Thank you again very much for your input, and we hope you continue to love our school. So, those kinds of responses. What you'll also find with Yelp especially is you're actually allowed to change your reviews. Not just leave a new review, but you can change it. And you'll find that most people, many of them, will change a negative review into a positive review when they get an acceptable solution. So if they're complaining because one of your teachers they feel is not behaving properly, and they go to Yelp and complain about that, and then you come with a solution, you fix the problem, you deal with it, many people will actually go back and change that review. They will change it and say, hey, they'll get rid of it, or say the school is fine, or they took action and they solved my problem, therefore I'm going to take the 1 star back up to 4 stars. Little things like that people will do. Now, sometimes they'll do it automatically. Sometimes I find it's easy to ask the standard 1 to 10 question and then get them to change the review. And the 1 to 10 question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you that we made this change? And if they come in with a 5 or a 6, go, what would it take for you to become an 8? And then do what they say. A lot of times they'll say 7 or 8 anyways, but if they don't, then come and say, what's it going to take for you to become a 9? A lot of times they'll say something, and you can say, okay, we can do that. So if I do that, are you willing to go ahead and update your review because we've solved the problem? And a lot of times people will. The other thing to do with overcoming negative reviews is just to bury the bad review with good. So even if there's that one bad review, that's on the very top, if there's 20 good reviews under it, that shows a lot, and it's going to put a level of disbelief into that negative review. And a lot of times I like to find that I like to focus on what that negative review was and getting 20 positive reviews over it. So if I have one that is talking about my grounds are not well maintained, let's go ahead and get a bunch of reviews that talk about how well maintained my grounds are. And yes, the Yelp filter will probably leave the negative review at the top. That's just the way they are. But if there's one that says there's a negative review, and there's 10 even that say, no, the grounds are really well maintained, and I love how much effort they put into it, and their maintenance staff is always helpful and friendly and seems to always be working on something, not just standing around talking. That negative review is going to get disbelieved, even if it just happens at a subconscious level. In order to do that, you have to do a superb job in order to get that many reviews. Let's just be quite blunt here. Poor customer service and quality have become the norm. Rudeness, ineptness, laziness, inefficiency have become the norm of our society these days. And that's just not acceptable. That's not going to get you the reviews you want. Quite frankly, even average isn't going to get you the reviews you want. You need to be superb. You need to be above average in order to get reviews, because our standards have been set so low and people are so negative now that when you stand out and are above average, people notice it and see it, but it doesn't take a whole lot. Sometimes it's just a matter of having the administrator, the principal, outside every day talking to parents, shaking hands as students come in, being friendly to students, being engaged. Sometimes that's all it takes, that little bit extra, making sure that your maintenance people are very friendly, making sure that your teachers understand that they need to be doing a superb job, going that little bit extra to really help out, because that's how you're going to get the reviews that you want. You also need to have a system in place to regularly get reviews. You cannot wait until after you get that negative review and then try and jump into overdrive and get 10, 20 positive reviews. That's just not going to happen. You need to have a system where you are regularly trying to get reviews, regularly making it known, encouraging people to give you reviews, encouraging people to take those steps, to leave them on Yelp, Google Plus, to just write one down. If you're not encouraging them and rewarding them for doing so, and when I say rewarding, it's not financial, but just thanking them for them, letting people know that you encourage people to do reviews. If you're not doing that regularly, you can't just turn this system on. The system that I love to do, and I've had success with lots of different folks and lots of different programs, is targeting 10% of your families every month with a system to try and ask them for reviews. Start off with the first of the month with maybe just a quick email home or a quick letter home saying, hey, would you mind giving us a review? Here's some samples, blank, blank, blank. And then throughout the month, those who do give you the review, make sure that you give them special attention. And those who don't, just continue to try. Now, are you going to get every one of them to do it? No. Again, 80-20 says that only 20% of them will ever give you the review. But you can try. And if you're doing 10% a month, on average, you're going to get about 120% of your students or the year you're going to target. So you're going to get to everybody generally. Now, you can either just pick segments of your program, be by name or by grade, although I generally tend to not like seeing it done by grades, because then the parents kind of realize that you're doing everybody at once. We're targeting the first grade or we're targeting the freshman class. They don't like that. They also don't like it if you just go through, okay, today we're going to, in January we're going to pick, the A to E's. Everyone kind of understands that. So you can pick segments. Maybe you look at when someone enrolled or what's the second letter of their last name. Randomly pick those, or just randomly pick people. There are plenty of programs out there that you can just say, here's a list of numbers, randomly pick 10% of them, and those numbers all relate to a spreadsheet with everybody in there. You can also, once you kind of get this program rolling, you can kind of just be bouncing back and forth and around to them and just keep coming back to the lists as you want. It's up to you, but you just really need to have a system to regularly do it. And again, I find 10% every month is just a great system. Start off on the first of the month with a request, and then kind of follow through and kind of bug them and request that they keep going with it. All right, so real quick, a summary of everything we've covered here in the last hour. Really, to do well on Yelp, you need to first become a Yelper so that you can see the data as someone who uses Yelp would be. You also need to unlock your Yelp page so that you can correct those errors, omissions, and can see extra data that you're not able to see without having control of your Yelp page. Again, it's really important to have that. To get reviews that stick, you want to make sure that you're segmenting your requests, that you're doing Yelp-only events, that you're using the Yelp logo. Teach people how to give good reviews. Engage reviewers, especially the good reviewers. Have Yelp check-ins and special fun events using a marketing calendar with special holidays or something like that to encourage people to leave reviews and to have fun. You also want to be dealing with those negative reviews. Remember, people want to have a solution. So make sure that you're solving the problems and not just ignoring them or not just fighting them. Be solving them. And also have a system for getting good reviews that you can regularly work yourself through so that it's just a part of your culture to be looking for those good reviews. All right, so thank you again, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this masterclass. And again, I will encourage you, if you're looking to grow your enrollment, if you're looking to grow your profitability and have more fun and get your life back, give me a call. Let's see if we can work together. Again, it's a free consultation. It's not, and I'm not a big sales guy. I'm not a high pressure sales guy. I'm just like, if we talk for an hour and we find that we can work together, that I have some tools that will help you grow your school, then great, let's work together. If we feel that we're not a great fit, that I don't have the tools, then that's fine too. We'll part ways as friends, and you can continue to come back and watch my master classes. And as I see things that might be able to help you, I'll still forward them to you. I would rather be your friend and not be doing business with you than do business with you and not have you be my friend. Anyways, again, this has been Devin Murray with AttractMoreFamilies.com. Have a great, wonderful, and tremendous week, and we'll talk to you again next Monday. Take care.